Hello, everyone. It's time for Vanishing Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanis. This is episode 363, season 15. Today's date is September 14th, 2024, and welcome to the show. On today's program, I'm going to talk about the 50th anniversary of the TV series The Night Stalker that starred actor Darren McGavin. And it was a very popular show. It only ran for one season, but it developed a cult status throughout the years. Also, I'll talk about a restaurant chain called Steak and Ale. That was around in the late 60s through the 70s, 80s, and I heard it's making a comeback. I'll talk about my memories of that place. But first, we're going to go into a commercial break. And this program is brought to you by Dream Whip. And it's a whipped cream mix. And here's a commercial from 1976. Yeah. I remember this product very well. Still on the market. So sit back and relax, and I'll be right back with the show, folks. Thank you.
You can't pick strawberries like these anytime, but you can pick a mix for fresh topping off the shelf anytime. Dream Whip. Fresh fruit deserves fresh whipped topping.
Grandma made her pecan pie anytime she wanted, but she couldn't make fresh topping anytime she wanted. I can. I keep Dream Whip on the shelf.
Anytime I want fresh whipped topping for my fresh-cooked hasty pudding, I reach for Dream Whip. It makes a hasty extra tasty.
Dream Whip whipped topping mix. Fresh whipped anytime.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Dream Whip topping mix. That product came out in 1957 by General Foods. Now it's owned by Kraft Heinz. First Kraft Foods and Heinz, with the ketchup. It's a whipped topping mix mixed with milk and vanilla to make a whipped dessert topping. It's very good. I think my mom bought it once like that, but I always love Cool Whip or Ready Whip. And there are a lot of commercials on YouTube. You can check them out if you like. There's one for a dream pie, like a cream pie. You mix it with chocolate, any type of flavor pudding. Put it in a pie crust, chill it in the refrigerator, take it out, and eat it. And it's taller than a regular cream pie. That's according to the commercial. It's still around, if you're in the mood. So it looked delicious. Every time I see a commercial like that with whipped cream, I go crazy. Oh, that's so good. Okay. At the beginning of the program, I mentioned I'm going to talk about the 50th anniversary of the TV series The Night Stalker that starred actor Darren McGavin. Also, I'll talk about the restaurant chain Steak and Ale. And before I get started, I'm going to mention a couple of things. One, if you see some clips of me talking, that's from the American Urology Foundation. I think that's American. I forgot the name of it. I was interviewed a couple of weeks ago, and then they edited some clips, and I've been posting it on Facebook and Twitter, X, and they've been doing it on their page. And I'm talking about my journey, through prostate cancer. So that's going to go through the entire month because it's prostate cancer awareness month. So that's pretty good. I'm very proud what I did of doing that. Second, I posted a picture of me going to the eye doctor. A lot of people thought, there's something wrong with you. And they go, no, I'm just going for an exam, because my eyes are okay. I have a little floater in my left eye. That's due to the standee, according to my oncologist. So that's a side effect. I told the eye doctor that, and she says, yeah, it's probably that. It won't go away, probably not, but it's just little pieces of stuff. It doesn't bother me. At night, I don't see it. I don't see it at all. It's like when it's daytime, I see it floating around. It's a pain in the butt, but that's how it is. She says, your eyes are okay because you're nearsighted, so that's fine. And I ran into one of my followers for Vanishing Chicagoland. He was at the eye doctor's office, and he said, Pete, are you Pete Costanis? I said, yes. And I said, I follow you on Vanishing Chicagoland. I love your account. It's one of the best things I look forward to seeing each day. And he invited me to lunch. And I said, okay. And I won't mention his name. So he took me to lunch. We talked. and he had some health issues himself, and I'm praying for him, but everything will be fine. He's going to be okay. So that was very nice. It's nice when you have this account, you meet people, first you talk to them through social media. You have to be careful. So it's nice. So that's what I've been doing for the past year or so, like I talk to people and they invite you to lunch, or, they want to get together and they want to discuss this because they love this account and they want to meet me. I said, fine, it's okay. I love it, because I get a lot of compliments from people that I know, people I don't know personally, also from the media. So that's wonderful. I'm very blessed. Okay. Right now we're going to talk about The Night Stalker. And it starred actor Darren McGavin, and that premiered on September 13th, 1974, on Friday the 13th. Oh, how appropriate for that day back then. So, and I remember this show fondly. I watched the first two TV movies. I discussed this in a previous podcast episode. I think it was like 2022 for the 50th anniversary of the TV movie. So that aired like April or something, March or April, something like that. And I did watch it when I was a little kid. I was about 8 years old. And that scared me to death. It was about a vampire running loose in Las Vegas. And he was one scary, bad vampire. Oh, my God. He was played by Barry Atwater. That's an actor. He was in a lot of TV shows, and he was good. I remember all the jugs of blood he had in his old house. And Kolchak found out where he lived, and they fought, and then he got, he ran a stake through his heart. I think that's what happened. It's been a while since I've seen the movie. It became very popular. Ratings went up the roof. One of the most popular TV movies of all time in the 70s. Then they made a sequel called The Night Strangler. And that was about a serial killer, not kipper. Kipper's a fish. Killer that's running loose in Seattle. And he's over 100 years old. And he kills people to stay young, like that. And that was played by Richard Anderson. You know him by Oscar Goldman from The $6 Million Man and The Bionic Woman. He was good at that, He played a bad character, but he was good. The ratings went well as well. Now they discussed doing a TV series. Darren McGavin was kind of reluctant. He didn't want to do it, but they gave him a lot of money, and he said, "Yeah, I'll do it." So they scheduled it for the 1973 season, and they scheduled it on Friday nights on ABC, which aired on WLS TV Chicago, Channel 7. And I watched the shows, almost all of them. Some were too scary, and I did not watch them because I was a little boy. And how old was I when it premiered? Almost 10, and I was like, oh, no, oh, no, so like that. But they were good. It was a good series, and ratings were not that well. Nobody was home watching Friday nights. Darren McGavin was very unsatisfied or dissatisfied, that is, with the series, and he just didn't want to do it anymore. So there were 20 episodes. My favorite was the vampire, a female vampire from one of the victims from the TV movie, the first one, but that was set in L.A. And there was one called Demon in Lace, I believe that's what it's called. I'll look it up. I keep forgetting. That was one scary movie, and that was about a succubus, like that. And let me find it for you. Demon in Lace, yeah. It was about a succubus, and she possesses corpses of recently young women to murder young men and giving them heart attacks. That was scary. That was the succubus scared me to death because she was one ugly thing. That's what it was, and scary. I didn't sleep for days. So I'll read off the episodes real quickly. Number 1 was The Ripper. That was actually Jack the Ripper. in present time. The zombie. There was one with the UFOs. The vampire I mentioned. The werewolf that took place on a cruise ship. Firefall. That was like a ghost of an arsonist took over a conductor's body. There was the Devil's Platform. The politician played by Tom Skerritt. He made a pact with Satan, and he turned into a dog. And that was one scary dog. Also, there was Bad Medicine. It was a Native American legend. It was like a shaman spirit played by Richard Kiel, from James Bond movies. The Spanish Moss Murders, The Energy Eater, Machimo Mundo, Horror in the Heights. That was Rakshasa. That was like a Hindu demon terrorized a Jewish neighborhood. Mr. Ring. That was like an android. Primal Scream. That was like a prehistoric ape man. The Trevi Collection. That was set in a fashion house with a witch played by none other than Lara Parker, Angelique from Dark Shadows. Perfect casting. And there was a headless motorcycle rider, and that title was called Chopper. He had a sword. Demon in Lace, I mentioned that before. Also Legacy of Terror. That was like an ancient cult. And they want to sustain their mummified leader and sacrifice people. And Eric Estrada, he was in before Chips. Also, there was a knight in suit of armor. It was called the Nightly Murders. I remember he just walked around with a sword. Also, the Youth Killer, that was played by Kathy Lee Crosby. She was Helena Troy, and then she ran a dating service, but she drained the youth of victims, for the sacrifices of the goddess Hecate for immortality. That was a good movie. Good show, that is. The last one was called The Sentry. It was a lizard creature. And so the ratings, like I said, the ratings didn't do well, and it was canceled. Darren McGavin was very relieved. There were 3 other unproduced scripts. One was called Eve of Terror. That was like a female Jekyll and Hyde. I would love to see that one. That would be cool like that. But no. But they made it into a comic book, and I bought the comic book at Comic-Con, and it was pretty good like that. Anyway, reruns started airing after that in the summer, and then the ratings went through the roof. And in like late 1979 or 80, the CBS late movie on Channel 2 in Chicago started airing the reruns at 10:30, and it was very popular. People came home from whatever they were doing and started watching the show, and they loved it. And it just went through the 80s, and it was one of the best TV series in the 1970s. And excuse me. So that sort of influenced The X-Files. That premiered in 1993. That starred David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson. I started watching the show, and it reminds me of the Night Stalker. Darren McGavin starred in the show a few times, and that's great to see him there. He was wonderful, wonderful. And I love the show. I love the X-Files now. I'm a Philly, or ex-Philly, whatever you call it. I'm a fan. So that's good news like that. And I bought it on DVD a long time ago, and I bought it on Blu-ray about a couple of years ago. Looks fantastic. It's wonderful. And I love the show. And people they had they had good and bad memories. It scared them. They loved it. It's on MeTV, I think Saturday nights late. So you can still watch it, if you're up. I don't know, they air it at midnight or something. Maybe they'll make you unsettled, but nah, it won't. So it's a great show. It was a great show, and I enjoyed it. It's like myself, I had good memories and bad memories of the show. So it doesn't bother me. Or I can watch it like 10 times and nothing will bother me because, I'm an adult. Okay. Right now I'm going to play a promo of the Night Stalker. It's real short. That would air, and it it's a promo that says in 1 week it'll start the premiere of the show. So sit back and relax, and I'll be right back with Steak and Ale. Okay? Thank you.
Meet Kolchak, the Night Stalker. He reports on the incredible, the unbelievable, the unthinkable. Darren McGavin is the Night Stalker.
Premieres next Friday night.
Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the promo for the Night Stalker that aired on Channel 7, WLS-TV in Chicago. One thing I failed to mention, like they filmed the series in Chicago this time. Some of the scenes were in Los Angeles, but they did film, Carl Kolchak driving around Michigan Avenue, State Street. You see familiar places like that. They mentioned Evanston, Wilmette, and all that. And I tried to find that. And you see the old CTA buses. It's kind of fun like that. So that's great. It's a great honor he was doing this in Chicago. I don't know if he didn't say, I don't know where I read if he liked filming there. I don't know, because he's not from there. So that's good. Like that, and he always had his camera, or tape recorder. In the show, at the end of the show, he always tries to photograph the monster. Mostly he's successful, and then he just records everything at the end of the program. He tells what happened, but sometimes he can't publish it. At the newspaper he worked with, Tony Vincenzo, played by Simon Oakland. So that's kind of frustrating in a way. So most of the time, he only saw the monsters, but there were other people that did, besides the victims. And so that's great. But, at the beginning of the program, you always see Lakeshore Drive and then the L passing through the office like that. So that's kind of cool. Okay. That's enough of the Night Stalker. Right now, I'm going to talk about Steak and Ale restaurants. And I heard they're making a comeback. And they were gone for a while. I'll give you a brief history about this place. And they opened in Dallas, Texas in 1966. And the man's name was Norman E. Brinker. And he opened that. And it was according to, they had some great items in the menus. They usually have steak, chicken and all that, blah, blah, blah. Like that. There were 2 locations in Chicago. But there was another one. Actually, there were 3, so let me get that real quick. Just a moment. I'll tell you in a second. Yeah, I think there was one in Rolling Meadows on Algonquin Road. But there were 2 that a lot of people will probably remember. One was at 17 West 648 22nd Street in Oak Brook. And the other one was 525 West Roosevelt Boulevard in Lombard, in Illinois. And to tell you the truth, I never went to these places. I remember hearing about this place. So I wish I did go, but there wasn't any restaurants near my house. So that was a little hard like that. Down in the South Side, not that I know of. But I found a menu of the place. It's a lunch menu. And so I'm going to read off the items they had, write down very quickly, and I'll tell you. And this is a lunch menu. Like I said, I didn't find the dinner menu. Maybe it's the same, but we'll see about that. So they had appetizers, for example, peel and eat shrimp. They had French onion soup, nachos, baked stuffed mushrooms, crab claw scampi. Well, that sounds good. And let's see what else they had. They had hamburgers, old-fashioned burger, cheddar burger, bacon and Swiss burgers. Only 3. I'm sure the menu has changed somewhat like that. They probably had salads also. Let's see. I'll be right with you. And let's see. So sandwiches, they had steak and ale cheesesteak, broiled chicken sandwich, English dip sandwich. Also, let's see what else. They had quiche. I don't know if they make quiches today. They had quiche of the day. They had quiche and French onion soup, quiche and salad bar. They had a salad bar. Yes, they had a salad bar there. That's what I was talking about. So you had your choice of dressings, and all that. And let's see what else they had. Here we go. So let's see. Here we go. Okay, I'm having a little trouble with this. Just a moment. It's I have it in my photos, so it's a little tough like that. Okay, I'll pull it up. Here we go. Okay, specialties they had is skillet of beef, Hawaiian chicken, smothered chopped beefsteak, mushroom mishmash, broiled shrimp pilaf, smothered steak, smothered chicken, and stuffed flounder maitre d'. So that sounds pretty good, like that. Okay. And compliments, they had sauteed mushrooms or baked potato, if you like. They had steaks at lunchtime prices, including a trip to the salad bar. So you get your entree and you go to the salad bar. They had the Kensington Club. That was a famous marinated steak. Steak and bake. That was top sirloin served with the garnished baked potato. Filet mignon. Of course, New York strip. Beef eater. It was a sirloin charboiled to your liking and a T-bone steak. And of course, they had dessert like that. Okay, so let's see. Let's see what else here. So, they expanded it through, not just in the Midwest and the South, and then they went bankrupt, and it was owned by Pillsbury, I believe. It was independent. Then Pillsbury bought it. Like with with Burger King, Bennigan's, Pop and Fresh, turned to Baker Square. And the Jolly Ox, I think the Jolly Ox was in Schaumburg. That's what it was. And it had about 280 locations. And then in 1993, they merged with Metro Media Steakhouse and chains, Bonanza and Ponderosa. And they were operated under the same umbrella. And then they filed for bankruptcy, and Steak and Ale went out of business. And then Bennigan stayed open until they went out of business. Of course, Bennigan's there's one in Elgin over there. Always want to go there. Now, they were planning on reopening, and they bring it back. So they opened one in Burnsville, Minnesota. They opened one about a couple months ago. And then they're going to open a second one in Grand Prairie, Texas. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And then there was a rumor they were going to open in Cancun, Mexico. Well, we'll see about that. I don't know if that will happen. So we're hoping. Maybe it'll return to Chicago, just like Jack in the Box. We'll see about that. Right now, I'm going to play a commercial for Steak and Ale from 1978. Yeah, and then when I come back, I'll wrap up the show, folks. Okay? So sit back and relax, and I'll be right back. Thank you.
Steak and Ale welcomes you back to the old country inn.
Come sup with us at Steak and Ale, we're hearty dining about.
This takes me back to the old days, a place to relax and enjoy a good hearty meal, like this Kensington Club.
The Kensington Club is a sirloin steak, marinated to taste. Lovingly grilled for just the right time. It even compares with our ribs in their prime.
Come join us. It'll be like old times.
Come sup with us at Steak and Ale.
Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Steak and Ale from 1978. Like I said before, I'm hoping they'll come back to Chicago. You know, it'd be great. We'll see. It remains to be seen. Steakhouses are great, you know, but some of them are expensive, some are good, and you know, like in the old days, you had Bonanza and Porter and Ponderosa, excuse me. So they're sorely missed around here. So it's fun to take the family there, you know, for a nice steak lunch or dinner with all the trimmings. Okay, so right now I'm doing a wrap up of the show, and I talked about the 50th anniversary of the TV series The Night Stalker that starred Darren McGavin, that aired on WLS TV Channel 7 in Chicago on Friday nights. Also, the Steak and Ale restaurant chain that was started in the late 60s through the 70s and 80s, and we'll see about that. Okay. This podcast will be published later on today, wherever podcasts are available: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music. Tap on those apps wherever device you have. Tap on following. You'll get the latest notification. And you can listen to previous podcast episodes if you like. Also, it'll be published on my blog, VanishChicagoland.blog. Also, it'll be on my YouTube channel again and again and again. People ask me, where do I find your podcast? Where do I find your podcast? You can find it on YouTube. Go to YouTube, do a search, type in Vanish Chicagoland Stories or my name, Pete Costanis, and you can find it. Click subscribe. Doesn't cost anything. You can listen to previous episodes if you'd like. There's I had one person on YouTube, he's listening to all of them. Wow, he has a lot of time. But I'm very happy he does that. That's great. And he comments on it. That's great too. So that's wonderful. Yeah, because they're all there. All of them are there. It's like that. Also, be sure on my social media accounts: Facebook, X, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, LinkedIn, and Reddit. I hope I didn't forget anything. No, I don't think so. Okay, I will not do a podcast episode tomorrow because I'll be out. I'll be going to church, and I'm going to a luncheon, so that's too bad. Tuesday, no, I'm going to be busy, so I probably won't do an episode probably next weekend. Well, that's okay. I'm sorry about that. You'll never know. Okay, so this is Pete Costanis, your host for Vanish Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Thank you for joining me today. It's a little warm, but it's beautiful. And I hope you enjoyed the rest of your weekend. And so here's bye-bye for me, and here's a little tribal music, from Ray Rayner saying bye, bye, bye. Take care, everyone, and so long.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.